so that while we are on earth, we can find and have access to salvation. Jesus did not go to hell to redeem anyone. And in addition to this notion, this false notion of purgatory, there is also this false notion and idea that Jesus Christ went to hell. Jesus Christ never went to hell. Not the place where the impenitent and unrepentant sinners go. Sometimes the word hell in English is used to translate the word grave. Jesus' body was put into the tomb, which was called the grave, which in English is translated hell. So hell can have a dual meaning. It can mean just the grave, but it could also mean the place where the soul is tormented, both before and after resurrection. Now, in Luke 16, Christians, listen. In Luke 16, we have the rich man and Lazarus that Jesus is talking about. Some people refer to it as a parable. I don't. I believe Christ is giving an actual narrative in Luke 16. But whether you believe it is a parable or whether you believe it was literal like I do in this particular case, what I will say is this. Hey, Claire, what I will say is this. Jesus definitely intended to give us a glimpse into what takes place to the righteous and the impenitent after they die, but prior to resurrection. So now keep in mind, we're still dealing with this idea of purgatory, which I will say once again, and I will continue to repeat. There is no such thing as purgatory in the Bible. The Bible does not talk about purgatory. Jesus didn't teach it. Peter didn't teach it. John didn't teach it. Paul didn't teach it. Moses didn't teach it. No one taught anything in the Bible at any time in the history of Christianity. No one taught purgatory. So if you are a friend of mine and you're Catholic, I'm sorry that I have to tell you this, but I'm really not sorry, because the truth is the truth and the Word of God is good, and I love the Word of God. But if you are holding to this false notion of purgatory because somebody you love, you know, was hell-bent on never turning from sin, and you were at the funeral giving that eulogy about how great they were, deep down you know. Deep down you know. There are people who will never be redeemed. If you shut your eyes on this earth, the second you shut your eyes on earth, your eyes wake up. You wake up in the afterlife. Shutting your eyes on earth in death, you simultaneously wake up in the intermediate state. Either in hell or in Abraham's bosom, or what is also synonymously called paradise. So now, in Luke 16, we have this narrative that Christ has laid out for us of the rich man and Lazarus. And I'm going to glean a few examples from about, four or five verses. I'll put some notes down so I don't forget, being an old man and all. So now, the rich man and Lazarus die. Lazarus, who was poor, goes to Abraham's bosom. But the rich man lifted up his eyes, being in torments, and he sees Lazarus afar off in the bosom of Abraham. And it says in verse 23 of Luke 16, and being in torments in Hades, he, the rich man, lifted up his eyes, and he saw Abraham afar off and Lazarus in his bosom. Then he cried and said, the rich man, that is, he cried out to Abraham, and he said, have mercy on me and send Lazarus that he may dip the tip of his finger in water and cool my tongue, for I am tormented in this flame. And Abraham says something interesting. He says something interesting. It wasn't part of what I really wanted to add to this conversation, but since I'm here, we might as well touch it. We might as well touch upon it. Abraham said, son, here's the key word, son, remember that in your lifetime you received good things. And likewise, Lazarus, evil things. And now, Lazarus is comforted and you are tormented. Now, here's the thing. This struck me. Abraham told the rich man, son, remember. Remember. Now remember, Lazarus has died. The rich man has died. And immediately after death, they are awake and conscious and aware, and their identity is known by them both. And they see each other, even though they are far away, but they see each other as if they're close. Don't ask me how that is. I don't know. No one knows. We will know when we are known, when we leave here. But follow this. Abraham told